The old Victorian house stood at the end of Willow Lane, its peeling paint and crooked shutters whispering of forgotten years. For Emily and Daniel, it was a dream, a fixer-upper with charm, history, and space to grow. They moved in on a rain-soaked afternoon, the floorboards groaning beneath their feet as if warning them to turn back. The attic was the last place they explored. A narrow door, half hidden behind an old wardrobe, creaked open to reveal a space thick with dust, except for one wall. The wood panels didn't quite align. Daniel's fingers found a gap, and with a push, the false wall gave way. Cold air rushed out. Inside was a nursery, untouched by time. A lace-trimmed crib stood in the corner, its blankets neatly folded. A rocking chair swayed, just slightly, as if someone had risen from it moments before. The walls were covered in tiny handprints, some smeared like frantic scratches. On a small desk lay a journal, its pages brittle with age. Emily flipped it open. The entries spoke of a little girl, Charlotte, who had lived here over a century ago. The last page, ink blurred as if by tears, held a single sentence. Asterisk, she's still here. Asterisk. That night, Emily jolted awake to the sound of laughter, a child's giggle, light and close. The nursery's door, which they had shut tight, stood ajar. The rocking chair moved in slow, deliberate arcs. And on the wall, a fresh handprint gleamed wet in the moonlight. The basement had always been the reason Mark got the house so cheap. Just need some work, the realtor had said. But as his sledgehammer struck the crumbling back wall on that sweaty July afternoon, the bricks gave way too easily, like something had been pressing against them from the other side. Cold, damp air rushed out as the hole revealed a space no larger than a closet. His flashlight beam caught rusted iron chains bolted to the floor, their manacles lying open in pools of flaked brown rust. The concrete walls bore hundreds of jagged scratches, some high, some low, as if something had been desperately clawing at every inch. Then he saw it, a yellowed newspaper clipping taped near the chains. The headline screamed, asterisk, Butcher of Elm Street escapes gallows, dies in home. Asterisk. That night, Mark barely slept. At 3:17 a.m., a metallic clink from the basement jerked him awake. The chains were moving. Not just swaying, asterisk thrashing asterisk, like something invisible struggled against them. A wet, ragged breathing filled the dark. Mark fled upstairs, slamming the door so hard the hinges rattled. The next morning, he checked his security cameras. The footage showed his basement door creaking open at 2:59 a.m. A figure shuffled downstairs, asterisk his own face asterisk staring blankly at the camera, before vanishing into the blackness of the hidden cell. The final frame showed the chains hanging perfectly still. And all the scratches on the walls were fresh. The grandfather clock in the foyer had stopped at 3:17 a.m., the exact time Grandma Ruth took her last breath. Claire ran her fingers through the dust coating the hallway mirror, her reflection warped by age-spotted glass. The lawyer said the house was hers now. The silence suggested otherwise. A draft from the basement made the cobwebs tremble. Something about the stone wall felt wrong, the mortar too fresh, the dimensions just slightly off. When Claire's fist accidentally punched through the brittle plaster, the smell of rosewater and mothballs poured out. Her phone's flashlight revealed a space no larger than a coffin, every surface papered with photographs. Hers. Dozens of them, from toddler to teen, all taken without her knowledge. School photos with the eyes carefully cut out. Birthday cakes with candles lit in empty rooms. A braid of honey blonde hair, her hair from childhood, nailed to a board like a trophy. The leather-bound journal fell open to a final entry. The cancer won't let me take you, my darling. But the house will keep you. I've made sure of it. The pages were dated the day before Claire's 18th birthday, the night Grandma Ruth died clutching a lock of her hair. Claire bolted upstairs, but the bedroom door swung shut behind her. The air grew thick with the scent of rosewater. In the vanity mirror's reflection, the bed's quilt dipped under invisible weight. Then wrinkled fingers curled over the footboard. The brass key didn't belong to any lock in the house. Sarah found it taped beneath the basement stairs on moving day, its teeth oddly stained. When it slid perfectly into the rusted padlock on the forbidden door, the mechanism clicked like cracking bone. The smell hit first, formaldehyde and rotting roses. Glass jars lined sagging shelves, each containing floating organs that glistened in Sarah's trembling flashlight beam. At the room's center stood an altar, a woman's portrait wreathed in dead flowers, her eyes seeming to follow their movements. That night, Sarah woke to whispering. The portrait now leaned against her bedroom mirror, the woman's smile stretched too wide. Downstairs, every jar from the secret room stood neatly arranged on the kitchen counter, except one. The heart jar was missing. In the basement, the coroner's journal lay open on the altar. The final entry, written in shaky script, read: I kept her with me, and now she's yours. As Sarah's scream echoed through the house, something wet and rhythmic began beating inside the walls. The scratching inside his closet started on Thursday. Ethan dismissed it as mice until Friday night, when his bedroom light flickered and the closet door swung open by itself. Behind his winter coats, where the back panel should have been, a dark corridor stretched into impossible blackness. The air smelled of wet cement and something sweetly rotten. His phone's flashlight died after 12 steps. The temperature dropped with each footfall, his breath becoming visible mist. Whispering voices coiled around him, all variations of his name, some pleading, some laughing. When he spun around, the closet door had vanished. The walls pulsed like living flesh. After what felt like hours, a single slip of paper materialized on the floor. You shouldn't have come in. The running started before he finished reading. Something barefoot and fast, gaining from the darkness behind him. Ethan ran until his lungs burned, until his fingernails tore against unyielding walls. The last thing he heard was his own voice whispering from ahead. Too late now. 3 days later, police reviewed Ethan's home security footage. The time stamp showed him entering the closet at 2:17 a.m. The video played in a perfect loop, Ethan stepping inside, the door closing, then immediately reopening to show an empty closet. But if you watch frame by frame, in the final milliseconds before the door shuts, something pale and long-fingered reaches out from the darkness behind him.